Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Thursday, November the 2nd, 2023. I am Jago. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Former Venezuelan Ambassador to Guyana slams Maduro regime over Essequibo referendum. U.S. Caribbean nations inform OAS of their support for Guyana amid threats from Venezuela. Guyana stands beside you, President Ali, to soldiers amid threats from Venezuela. Atrocious. JAGDEO says government not happy with GPL'S constant power outages. And AGRI ministry addressing CRABWOOD Creek wildfire, which resulted in millions in losses. Now for the news in detail. A former Venezuelan ambassador to Guyana has bashed the Nicholas Majuro government over its planned referendum that seeks to annex Guyana's territory of Essequibo. He said the referendum is not only useless, but is a distraction from the enormous socio-economic crisis in the Spanish-speaking nation ahead of its 2023 elections. Here is our lead story tonight.
In an opinion piece published in several regional media outlets, former Venezuelan ambassador to Guyana and current advisor to the Venezuelan opposition, Sadio Garavini Di Turno, said the referendum set for December 3rd, aimed at claiming Guyana's Essequibo region, is not only useless but harmful to the interests of Venezuela. Last month, the Venezuelan National Electoral Council published a list of 5 questions that it plans to put before the Venezuelan people in the referendum next month, including one question that proposes the creation of a Venezuelan state out of Guyana's Essequibo, and an accelerated plan for giving Venezuelan citizenship and identity cards to the Guyanese population. But Turno said this is an unreal question. He noted that it is ridiculous to think that Essequibans, who live in the world's fastest-growing economy, would want to be citizens of a country in the midst of a socio-economic disaster, and from which its own people are fleeing to Guyana. Turno, who is a former Vice Minister of Justice in Caracas, said this particular question also gives the impression that Venezuela intends to militarily occupy the Essequibo region, something which has already been denounced by Guyana, the Caribbean community, and the wider international community. The former Venezuelan ambassador also pointed out that 2 of the questions in the referendum are absolutely inconsequential. He said in asking the Venezuelan electorate if they support the 1966 Geneva Agreement as the only instrument to resolve the controversy, the government forgot to mention the ongoing process before the International Court of Justice. Turno further outlined that the World Court, with or without the presence of Venezuela, would follow the process and in a few years would issue its ruling, which is mandatory and unappealable. He added too that after the decision on the 1899 arbitral award and the definition of the land border, it is very likely that the ICJ will also have to intervene in the delimitation of marine and underwater areas. According to the former diplomat, the responsible thing for Venezuela to do is prepare itself to defend its case at the ICJ. The former Venezuelan vice minister also noted that the Venezuelan government's position on the oil activities offshore Guyana is extremely irresponsible and not very serious, especially since 2 of the partners in the Stabroek Bloc, CNOOC and Chevron, also operate in Venezuela. In fact, Turno is of the position that the referendum is a maneuver to distract public attention from the enormous socio-economic failure in Venezuela in view of the announced 2024 elections by raising the nationalist flag.
The United States of America and several Caribbean nations have informed a special session of the Permanent Council of the Organization of American States, OAS, of their support for Guyana amid intensified threats from Venezuela. After Guyana's Prime Minister Mark Phillips had updated the OAS of recent developments, including the country's concerns regarding Venezuela's planned referendum on the Essequibo region, and also of the Spanish-speaking nation's increase of military troops near the border, representatives of other countries addressed the high-level gathering. Here's a look.
My government supports Guyana's sovereign right to develop its own natural resources. The United States finds efforts to infringe upon Guyana's sovereignty unacceptable. The United States supports a peaceful resolution to this issue whether through the decision of an international judicial body or agreement of the parties. With this in mind, we call on Venezuela to respect international law, including the 1899 arbitral award, as well as the ongoing International Court of Justice process between Guyana and Venezuela.
We note with concern report on the recent developments regarding the status of the Ghana-Venezuela border dispute, and particularly the proposed referendum to be carried out by Venezuela to claim the Essequibo region. In this regard, the Jamaican delegation fully aligns with the position adopted by CARICOM through its statement and consistently and unwavering support for international law and for the position adopted by CARICOM. Jamaica views the ICJ adjudication process as a positive signal towards a peaceful resolution of this issue and one which will give validity to future outcomes. In this regard, it is our hope that Venezuela will participate meaningfully in the ICJ's adjudication process and to fully comply with Article 4 of the Geneva Agreement that was implemented in 1966 to resolve the border conflict between nations. Guyana can continue to count on Jamaica's support in defense of their sovereign rights and its territorial integrity.
We respect Guyana's sovereign right to defend its territory, as has been outlined in the 1899 Arbitral Award. What we all seek, however, is peaceful and mature solutions to the issues of conflict, and particularly within this region. In a world that has become so uncertain and so unpredictable, we must have peaceful, equitable outcomes in accordance with international law. We must also respect our reputation as a zone of peace. Barbados stands with Guyana and on the side of international law.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago has consistently underscored the importance of the Western Hemisphere as a zone of peace and affirmed its adherence to the fundamental principles of international law enshrined within the Charter of the OAS. These principles have been echoed by Guyana, our CARICOM sister country, and have been firmly supported by the government of Trinidad and Tobago within that body as well, as expressed in statements by CARICOM. Trinidad and Tobago will continue to stand as an interlocutor of peace on this issue, which the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, has determined to be within its jurisdiction. To that end, Trinidad and Tobago looks forward to each party's full engagement in the ICJ process.
And Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip J. Pierre, within the span of 1 week, has visited both countries and has held high-level discussions with both leaders. It is the belief of St. Lucia that the long-standing conflict between Venezuela and Guyana should be resolved through the International Court of Justice, which has the standing and exclusive jurisdiction for settling this dispute peacefully and equitably within the ambits of international law. However, St. Lucia's message heard today is consistent with our country's desire to keep our region as a zone of peace.
The Bahamas' commitment to supporting efforts towards a peaceful, equitable outcome of this dispute in accordance with the rule of law.
The impending referendum, characterized by questions that seem designed to influence a predetermined outcome, appears to be a further attempt to legitimize the annexation of Essequibo. It is crucial to emphasize that these questions ignore the existing 1899 International Arbitral Award, which delineated the boundaries between Venezuela and Guyana. Moreover, they disregard the ongoing case before the International Court of Justice aimed at determining the validity of this award. We urge Venezuela to participate in the ICJ process, which many of our member states have utilized and continue to use for peaceful and legal dispute settlement. This process offers a neutral and lawful platform for addressing disputes, and adherence to them is in the best interest of all nations. Antigua and Barbuda enjoys friendly relations with both Guyana and Venezuela. We would like to see a legal and peaceful settlement of this border matter through the international legal process.
As the Ghana Defence Force GDF observes its 50th anniversary, President Dr. Irfanali has reminded its serving ranks that the entire Guyana is appreciative of its sacrifices in safeguarding the nation. In this regard, he expressed that the entire Guyana would continue to stand by them amid intensified threats from Venezuela. Here's what he had to say.
I am profoundly honored to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the remarkable men and women of the Ghana Defence Force as the force commemorates its 50th anniversary. I express our nation's gratitude to the brave men and women who have gallantly served the force with distinction and out of a sense of duty. I want to assure you that your selfless service and sacrifice have not gone unnoticed. The people of Guyana are appreciative of your dedication and sacrifice in safeguarding and defending our motherland. Today, our beloved Guyana finds itself facing menacing threats emanating from the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Guyana has always aspired to and remains unwaveringly committed to peace and the peaceful resolution of disputes. However, no one should misconstrue this commitment as a sense of weakness. We stand resolute in our determination to vigorously defend our country and its people, safeguarding our territorial integrity and sovereignty. In the face of extant challenges, we stand united, steadfast, and unyielding in ensuring the safety and well-being of our nation and its citizens. The Ghana Defence Force remains central to our nation's comprehensive defense strategy, meticulously crafted to protect your homeland's territorial integrity and sovereignty. When summoned, you have never wavered in executing your duties with the utmost professionalism and efficiency. I want to assure you, all of Guyana stands beside you. On this 50th anniversary, let me extend not only on my behalf, but on behalf of every citizen of our nation, our sincerest and warmest congratulations to the members, past and present, of the Ghana Defence Force.
November the 6th has been finalized as the date for the extraordinary sitting of Guyana's National Assembly to discuss developments on the Venezuela border controversy. This new date was set following a meeting between representatives of the People's Progressive Party civic government and the parliamentary opposition. It was announced on Wednesday that Parliamentary Affairs and Governance Minister Gail Teixeira had met with Opposition Chief Whip Christopher Jones and Shadow Foreign Affairs Minister Amanso Walton Desir earlier in the day. According to a statement from the minister, it has been amicably agreed between the two sides to change the previously determined November the 3rd date for the extraordinary sitting of the National Assembly to November the 6th at 1000 hours. The National Assembly has been on its annual recess since August the 10th, 2023. The extraordinary sitting, according to the minister, will be to discuss a motion of support for the government and people of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana and to reaffirm recognition of the 1899 Arbitral Award and the 1966 Geneva Agreement. Coming up, GCCI bemoans constant blackouts as GPL assures of solution by mid-December, and First Lady to serve as patron of ACMF.
John Lewis Styles has opened a new department, now offering home goods. Here you can find quality sheets and towels, pillows, blankets, and even bath mats and shower curtains. Organize your laundry with clothes baskets, fabric steamers, irons, and ironing boards. For the kitchen we have small appliances, towels and mittens, pot sets and dinner sets too. Decorate the house with mirrors, picture frames, floating shelves, and decorative pillows. All these and more on Waterloo Street. It's fashion for the home. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Premier insurance coverage for less. Stay safe. Premier insurance coverage for less. Stay safe.
I am Avinash Narayan.
First met Avinash through one of my friends, and it was an instant meeting between two souls.
Crystal is a genuine person. She loves fashion.
He's one of those souls that once you meet him, it's hard not to love him.
My grandmother, my mother, and her eldest sister, they were seamstresses. And I guess that's where my inspiration came from. It was very hard for me coming out to my family. Back then, being gay wasn't accepted. There is still a lot of stigma and discrimination attached to us. But at the end of the day, I'm human just like you are.
It's important for me to be an ally on such an important topic because he's my friend. He's also a human being and everybody needs support.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. The Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, GCCI, today registered its disappointment with the continued spate of power outages in Guyana as it weighed in on the negative impact this situation is having on businesses and production. However, as we hear in this Rupert C. Narayan report, the Guyana Power and Light Inc. is assuring of a solution by mid-December.
In a statement on Thursday, the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry highlighted that constant power disruptions are having an acute impact on productivity of enterprises. The GCCI noted that continued loss of productive time, disruption to production, and an overall hindrance to the smooth functioning of business will impede both growth and investment prospects. At this time, the entity underscored its unwavering support for investments that will create a sustainable energy mix for Guyana, including the Amila Falls Hydropower Project, the Gas-to-Energy Project, and solar farms. However, the Chamber of Commerce also called on the Guyana Power and Light, and by extension the government of Guyana, to employ measures that will bridge the current generation shortfall. Meanwhile, state-owned GPL is projecting that Guyanese can expect an ease to the current situation until mid-December, when supplemental generation comes on stream. Previously, the utility company had announced that it had reached a historic peak in electricity demand, recorded at an unprecedented 182 megawatts. It reasoned that this situation is not unique to GPL, as countries around the Caribbean have recorded significant increases in demand due to rising temperatures in the region. GPL's Development and Expansion Plan 2023 to 2027 projected 186.6 megawatts in 2023. Given this projection, the company began acquiring additional generation through public tenders early this year. This process resulted in the procurement of 28.9 megawatts of generation as an interim solution in anticipation of the 300 megawatt natural gas power plant at Wales, West Bank Demerara. The supplementary generation will become operational in mid-December, bolstering GPL's ability to meet the increased demand. Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
Vice President Dr. Barrett Jagdeo has lashed out at the dismal performance of the Guyana Power and Light, GPL Inc., in light of the increasing spate of power outages occurring across the country on a daily basis. During his press conference today, Jagdeo said government is concerned about the situation, which he described as atrocious. In the same breath, however, he explained that the current administration has had to deal not only with the lack of investments to upgrade the country's generation systems, but also with growing demands. On this note, the Vice President said government is working on a medium-term fix that would see electricity costs lowered and power regularized in the coming years through the 300-megawatt power plant to be constructed as part of the gas-to-energy project. In the interim, JAGDEO assured efforts are being undertaken to increase the capacity of the national grid next month. Here's a look.
We're not happy with it because it does affect people, and the president has made it clear. He read the Riot Act to GPL, because sometimes we believe that some of it is not just because of the availability of the gensets, but also some negligence. We have to take tough action, and so he's directed them to deal with that. This is a result of several things. One is a lack of investments by the government in the past, APNU government, after they killed the hydro. They did not put in place any new power plant. So things happen with a lag. We're still running this country and supplying power with power plants that were bought by the PPP some 20 years old, 24 years old, in Kingston and all these places. And so that is it. Then the second thing is that we started subsidizing power when the oil prices went up. So everyone who was self-generating, because it was economically feasible to do so, all the big people, they jump onto the grid, because now their cost of generating based on the higher fuel prices will be higher than if they buy power from GPL. In the past, it used to be cheaper, but because of higher fuel prices. So they've moved over. Thirdly, it's the growth in demand. So these are three things. That's why we're trying to get people off. We bought several units since we got into office. Another 30 megawatts will come into the system by mid-December. We're hoping we've already tendered for 34 megawatts of solar panel that would bring relief to many parts of the country. So, and we are looking for additional power now, but we're trying to fix the issue definitively with the gas-to-energy power plant. It's simple. When the new power plant comes on, we were planning at that time that because the price reduction will be from 22 cents to 11 cents, and nobody would be able to generate at that level privately, they would all come over. They've come over earlier because we started subsidizing power because we couldn't pass on the additional benefits. We couldn't allow power prices to go up. It would have pushed up the cost of living. But GPL will answer all of these questions. I don't want to make excuses for nobody here because I'm not into that business. I'm upset myself.
With a keen focus on strengthening the link between cultural heritage and tourism appeal, the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, in collaboration with the Guyana Tourism Authority, GTA, on Wednesday launched Tourism Awareness Month 2023. Here is Rupert Sinarayan with the details.
Tourism Heritage Month is being observed under the theme Cultural Tapestry, Investing in Our People, Enriching Our Heritage. This theme speaks to a collective effort to embrace and celebrate the diverse makeup of Guyana's cultural landscape and use these vibrant elements to position the country as a premium tourist destination. Tourism Industry and Commerce Minister Onish Walrand told attendees during Wednesday's launch that tourists across the globe continue to seek out authentic experiences. According to the minister, this year's theme also reflects the government's push to invest in building human capacity and local talent.
We unite through cultural experiences such as the foods we eat and the festivals we celebrate. Diwali, Phagua, Christmas, Easter, and Eid are all religious observances. However, Guyanese have been known to unite in celebration of these festivals, and we want to bring this collective energy into the promotion of tourism. I remain convinced that our cultural product has immense tourism potentials. I envision more events and locations where tourists can enjoy the tassa or African drums or experience our compelling array of dances. It is now customary in leading tourism destinations to utilize culture as a main facet of tourism promotion, particularly at ports of entry. The point I'm making is that there is a link between our cultural tourism, our cultural heritage and tourism.
Meanwhile, Director of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Cameron Baksh, emphasized that culture was a core pillar of tourism in Guyana, and the aim this year is to ensure that the country's culture was equitably highlighted.
We have a number of novel as well as unique activities to give that representation and to bring cultural representation to the fore. We have the Adopt an Attraction initiative, which basically is inviting members of civil society to come on board to, one, appreciate the sites that we have, the many attractions that we have, and to adopt, as the title says, a particular space or attraction. And we already have several commitments from the private sector, especially from the Tourism and Hospitality Association of Ghana, which we will be rolling out that program this month. We also have Museum Week right here at Walter Rudd, is one of the participating museums, and we're encouraging persons to understand again the significance of our cultural history at the museums across Guyana.
This month's activities will see an exciting series of events aimed at highlighting and appreciating Guyana's rich cultural tapestry. Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
The Ministry of Agriculture has been called in to see what interventions it can make in relation to the wildfire which has already destroyed several acres of crop at CRABWOOD Creek, Quarantine, Region 6, East Berbice, Quarantine. At least 3 farmers told the Evening News that the fire consumed a large portion of their farms. Our Berbice correspondent, Andrew Carmichael, reports that farmers have reported that up to this morning, the fire was still raging.
In an invited comment on the situation, Region 6 Chairman David Armagon said the Ministry of Agriculture has been called in after farmers at Turani Canal, CRABWOOD Creek, which is under quarantine, reported that wildfires had destroyed large portions of their crop. On Tuesday, farmers discovered that the bush adjacent to some cultivated areas was burning. By Wednesday, the fire crossed the canal with the aid of the wind and started burning sections of the cultivated area. One farmer said that 7 acres of his land was destroyed, while another farmer said 5 of his 15-acre cultivated plot was destroyed. Another farmer reported that the fire consumed a significant portion of his plantain cultivation. More than 50 farmers cultivate the land at Turani Canal, with most of it being on the plantains and citrus currently. Reports reaching the Evening News on Thursday indicate that there was still fire in the area. Armagon said the regional administration is in receipt of reports from those farmers as it relates to their damages.
We have reported that to our respective authorities, and so they are looking at it because those people who lost, every one man said he lost over $7 million, over $7 million. So it's in the hands of the Ministry of Agriculture. The fire service has reported over 20 cases of wildfire within the region. People have been lighting, and this is one of the things I want to talk about. So people got to be very careful in this dry weather condition not to light garbage heaps and so all over the place and light fire in the grass. And so you see what happened in Angais Avenue the other day. Somebody lit the grass there to get rid of the grass, and they ended up burning down 2 buildings. And so we got to be very careful. So I want to appeal to members of the public: do not smoke and throw the cigarettes, all over the place, because you got to be able to out the cigarettes before you throw it around the place. And at the same time, you got to be very careful how you light garbage heaps, because it can spread. And once it spread, you see what is happening to the dump heap at New Amsterdam. The methane gas is rising there, and so even when you get it out for 1 day, 2 days after, the fire catches again. And the smoke is very dangerous as well.
The farmers at Turani Canal say they have made requests to the National Agriculture Research and Extension Institute, NARI, as it relates to the digging of drains between the forested area and the cultivated area, so as to prevent the fire from getting easy access to the cultivated area. They say so far there has been no positive response to their request, despite the agency having an excavator in the area. For the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
Her Excellency First Lady Arya Ali will serve as patron at this year's American Caribbean Maritime Foundation ACMF Gala and Anchor Awards, which will be held at the Lauderdale Yacht Club in Fort Lauderdale under the theme Talent in Your Backyard. The annual Anchor Awards of the ACMF honor stalwarts in the cargo and cruise industry for their accomplishments and positive impact on the Caribbean shipping and maritime sector. Funds from the event support scholarships for aspiring Caribbean maritime professionals. Currently, 42 Guyanese are benefiting from scholarships through the ACMF. The scholarships have been awarded through MATPAL, Marine Institute and Atlantic Alliance Maritime and Offshore Training Institute, AAMOTI. Since assuming the role of First Lady, Mistress Ali has played an increasingly important role in Guyana's maritime sector. She has since awarded 100 scholarships to women from hinterland regions to pursue maritime training at AAMOTI. Launched in 2016, the ACMF has focused on creating a cadre of seafarers and maritime professionals from CARICOM to take up officer, engineering, navigational, and other positions in the sector. ACMF is a US-based non-profit tax-exempted organization that is dedicated to sponsoring academic scholarships and grants to aspiring Caribbean and CARICOM maritime professionals and seafarers. And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic on Friday, November 3rd, 2023 at 4 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 8 hours 5 on Friday, November 3rd, 2023, also for a period of 1.5 hours.
Pan Am Games. E-sport competitor begins on positive note and Abrams 5th in 400 meter, Archibald into 200 meter final. Details of these stories in the Sportscast sponsored by McCorp coming up on the other side of the break.
Wash Bay operators, are you looking for that unique service to elevate your business? Well, come on down to your #1 industrial store, Sylvie's, and invest in an undercarriage pressure washer tool. That's right, impress your customers by now washing under their vehicles easy and efficiently with an undercarriage tool. We have in stock different types that offer a wider range of services and can increase your revenue without having to invest in expensive ramps. Your customers are going to leave satisfied. So what are you waiting for? If you can't make it to our 31 High in Hatfield Streets location, we can deliver in and around Georgetown. Give us a call on 227-6226 or WhatsApp us on 623-7755 or visit our website sylviesonline.com. Sylvie's Industrial Solution, proudly serving Guyana for over 4 decades.
Did you know that when you leave your property unoccupied and unmanaged, it deteriorates much faster than you can imagine? Then before you know it, much of your hard-earned investment is wasted. At Hand in Hand Trust Corporation, property management is our business. Whether you travel for long periods, live overseas, or have several properties that require managing, let us at Hand in Hand Trust Corporation take care of this for you. Your property is safe with us. Hand in Hand Trust Corporation Incorporated, a member of the Hand in Hand Group of Companies.
Super Bet, your best bet. Do you wish to pass some time and win while doing so? Play our Super Bet online games. Choose from over 200 online games that are easy to play. Visit www.superbet.gy to choose your game. Must be 18 years and older. Terms and conditions apply.